Now, 4 people have died and 10 others hospitalized after eating some poisonous fish known as balloon fish in Kando, and leaving residents of the town and nearby communities in a state of fear and anxiety. Officials of the Food and Drug Authority have begun tests on samples of the fish, while the bodies of the deceased have been sent to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital for a post-mortem to ascertain the actual cause of death. Here's the Volta Regional Head of the Food and Drugs Authority, Eugene Addo.
We got to know some people at a particular type of fish and they were hospitalized. So we interacted with indigenes and we were told the fish is called Hukluwe or Agede. They say it's a fish that has been consumed of old. So why these particular people have had this problem, I can't tell. But others also say there is a mode of handling the fish. You have to remove the head and the skin and throw away before you eat whatever it is. But it's not something that I know of. So I'm taking the information from the field as it is.
Now, very soon we'll be taking you to Pano in the Volta region to get the latest on what is happening there. Joining us, Fred Kwame Asare will bring us the latest there. But we've been joined in the studio by a lecturer in the Fisheries Department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Sam Addo, who has earlier expressed surprise as these deaths. Now, Dr. Addo has been saying the species of fish is known by locals in the Volta Basin, and they've been educated in the past on how they can avoid the poisonous parts of the fish. He's joined us in the studio with more. Welcome, Dr. Sam Addo.
Thank you very much.
So, first of all, what kind of species of fish is this?
Well, the puffer fish, scientifically, it is known as Tetraodon lineatus. Some also call it Tetraodon fahaka. Now, it has got various English names. Some call it the blowfish. It is also known as the Nile puffer. It is also called the fahaka puffer, the striped puffer, line puffer, band puffer. It is also known as the globefish. And locally, some refer to it as the balloon fish. Now, about 2 years ago, I tasked my class, biology class, fish biology class, etiology, to come out with local names of all freshwater fish species that we have in the country. And for this particular species, they came out with 2 names. In Ghana, Dangbe, they call it the kokwe, or kokwe, I don't know the exact pronunciation. And then the Ewe has it at the Gede, or Gede.
Okay.
Right? So it is a fish that is known as part of the collection of fishes that we have in the Volta system. Now, in West Africa, it is also found in other water bodies.
Right, but in Ghana, is it limited to the Volta Basin only?
As far as I know, I haven't yet come across any research work from any other researcher from other water body, like the pra or the Ancobra also, that also has the species.
Right.
Could be.
What is poisonous about the puffer fish?
Well, there is, it is known to have some poisonous glands, and the poison in it is known as the tetraodotoxin, and this toxin is said to be a neurotoxin, which means that it affects the nervous system. And once your nervous system is affected, obviously, you would have
a serious complication.
Yes.
So, what does it do to a human being? Like you said, it attacks the nervous system. How do we see the symptoms?
Well, I don't know as far as the symptoms are concerned. Maybe it might go into some medical research for us to be able to, And I haven't personally also seen somebody who is down with, this particular, symptom.
Right, and so we are talking about the dangers that it poses, but I remember you were saying earlier, and you're quoted in the intro there, that you're saying people have been educated on how to use this fish safely.
Well, maybe if we talk about educated, it might look as if it is an organized, form of education that have been given to the people. But as far as I'm concerned, way back in the early 2000s, when I was a student in the Marine and Fisheries Science Department, University of Ghana, we heard of a similar situation where one or two, fishermen or fishers died by eating this particular fish. Though I did not document, I can't tell exactly the date at the time, but I remember this issue came up. And that was when we as students also had to do some little research on it, and we found that it has some poisonous glands in it, which makes it, poisonous if not properly processed before eating. So I thought that with this, the local community, because I believe and I know that they still eat it. Some probably know how to do the processing and are able to eat it, because you can see some smoked, they can smoke it and then eat it. So there is some kind of knowledge of this fish.
And this knowledge is indigenous knowledge that has been handed down from parents to child?
It should be indigenous knowledge. Probably the way of handing it over from parent to child has not been properly, because there might be some people within the riparian communities that do not know about this. And so when they get the fish and they just go and prepare it for food, you are just going to kill yourself.
Yeah, so we've also been picking, trying to speak to some locals on the ground, and like I said, our man on the ground, Fred Kwame Asare, will be joining us soon. But then we are being told by some of the indigents that it's simply a matter of taking off the head, removing some of the scales. Do you know how it's processed?
Well, I don't know how it is processed, but that is one thing that we need to tap the local expertise of some of the fish processors who know how to process it. We need to get these people to also train others within the riparian communities or even among the fish processing association, so that people get to know exactly how to process this fish, even if for the market. Because let me give an example. I was in Japan in 2003, and I was in a city called Monoseki. And this is a city that has the puffer fish, of course, a different species in Japan. Even as
but it's also poisonous.
It's poisonous. As a delicacy, they eat it. And I remember when I visited the city mayor, in fact, what he gave to me, because I was in the local Ghanaian, the fugu, he was so, enthused and said that he's going to give me a present. And what he gave to me was a puffer fish, made with the ceramics.
Okay.
Beautiful. And he told me that this is a delicacy. And how do they do it? They have expert chefs who prepare it. And these chefs have even been licensed.
Wow.
So they prepare it.
So where do we begin from in keeping ourselves safe? Because in the first place, people would now be going out to the market with some apprehension that the fish they would buy would be this sort of poisonous species.
Well, I think that since the FDA and others have come in, I think with this emergency, what needs to be done is rather to inform the people not to eat, the fish. For now, I mean, as an immediate measure, they don't have to eat, because you don't know how it was processed, whether processed or in the fresh form. But secondly, I think that we need to get those within the local communities who know how to process this fish for food without, it had, because if some say they know how to cut off the head, maybe take other internal organs and so on and so forth, and make it safe for eating. These are people, the locals have that knowledge. So why don't we, even researchers, educationists, and the Fisheries Commission, the Food and Drugs Authority, we go in there, get these people organized, let us see the experts, and then know how they do the processing. After processing, it could be tested by GSA to see whether the processed one is safe for eating, and the way by which they did the processing could be passed on to others.
Right. So finally, Dr. Ado, what would be your advice to the average viewer watching you now?
Well, I think that within the communities, I believe that the FM stations all around the area are giving the awareness to the people that they should avoid eating the fish. And if they should avoid eating the fish, then it means that just as I said, the next thing to do would be to find ways by which this fish could be properly, we know the proper way of processing it so that it will be safe for us all, both on the local market and then, in individual homes, because some may not necessarily be processing it for the market. They may just be using it for food for their homes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samado, for your time. He's a lecturer with the University of Ghana Marine and Fisheries Department.